Discover the heart of our history at the Hidden History Museum in Los Angeles. Now open with new weekend hours, Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Located at 2131 West Jefferson Boulevard in Los Angeles, our museum showcases the brilliance and ingenuity of foundational Black American culture, along with the richness of global Black culture. Come in, explore our displays, and shop for books, films, and other unique items that celebrate our legacy. Also, be sure to look out for our popular special events. For more information, visit hiddenhistorymuseum.com.
I'm no longer musty. I'm no longer musty. Hey, I'm no longer musty. Hey, I'm no longer musty. 'Cause I got my real work on. I'm no longer musty. 'Cause I got my real work on. I'm no longer musty. 'Cause I got my real work on. I'm no longer musty.
Boom, there it is. All right, we in the building, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody give me a nice retweet. That would be absolutely phenomenal. If you can give me that retweet, family, let everybody know that we are indeed live right now. So everybody come on in the room and let's chop this thing up. Let me throw one more thing on my social media. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be all the way good to go with the chopping it up. And while I'm talking, get your tickets to join me out here in LA at the Hidden History Museum on Saturday, October 4th. We're having the Funny Fall Fest. We have a lot of phenomenal comics. We got phenomenal complimentary food, phenomenal music, phenomenal mixing and vibing with everybody. You don't want to miss that. So y'all need to go to hiddenhistorymuseum.com to get tickets to join me, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let me shout out to some of my mods in here. The mods are in here heavy. That's good. Everybody's coming on in the room. Respect to the law. I see Brother Michael Wharton. I see Nikki the God. I see Patricia Jenkins. Come on with it, moderators. Miss Kawami. Shout out to you guys making it happen in the room. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, make sure you are subscribed, because sometimes YouTube, for whatever reason, they unsubscribe people. So make sure you are subscribed here. What's up, Quadia McMillan? Let's chop it up, man. There's a lot of stuff we got to cover, because I do want to do a later broadcast on Twitter Space. That's when we really cook on the Twitter Space. And y'all need to be following me on Twitter, Tariq Nasheed. You understand? But first of all, what we got to talk about, something very important. We got to talk about some of these colored colonizer collaborators, some of the tethers that have a history of colonizing or collaborating with the colonizers. Hold on one second, just getting a bunch of text messages, people trying to rent the dang museum. Shout out to the people, somebody rented the museum yesterday. It was a birthday party for a senior sister, and beautiful people, beautiful brothers and sisters came out. The elders came out. We had a lot of beautiful elders at the museum yesterday. Shout out to the sister and her family, the ones who put the party on for the elder sister. But it was some elder sisters up there. And I like when we get the elder sisters at the museum because that it kind of cleanses the energy. It brings an angelic energy when those sisters are there. It's something about the aura of the elder foundational Black American sisters and brothers too, but just their energy is very, very phenomenal. And also, they always leave the place spotless. That's another thing. We have events at the museum all the time. Usually when it's younger people, boy, it's a mess in there afterwards. When younger people have it, when the 20-somethings and stuff like that, when they getting it in, there's liquor and drinks all over the floor, tissue all in the bathroom, everything is wet, there's food all over the floor, chairs are turned over, napkins. It is what it is. They're going to be used, but it is what it is. So when they come through, you can tell when they come through. But when them elder sisters come through, whenever they do an event, they don't leave without the place being spotless. Those elder sisters, they always make sure the place is spotless. It's cleaner than when they got there. That's the thing about them. Them elder sisters don't play about leaving a mess somewhere. You understand? So we got to understand generational culture. And we're going to get into culture later on in the broadcast. We're going to talk about that. But everybody come in the room. People are still coming in the room. But what I want to talk about, family, I'm talking about in our day and age, family, we still have people with that mindset that got everybody twisted up in the first place. This is why the Delineation Renaissance movement is in full swing the way it is. Because it's time for global paradigm shifts. We are not going to be doing the same routine that we've been doing for the last 500 years. We're breaking out of that cycle. And one way to break out of that cycle is understand who's who and who's perpetuating that cycle, who's contributing to the perpetuation of the cycle. This is why delineation is very important. It's all about riders. Who are the riders? Who are the collaborators with white supremacy? Y'all remember a couple of weeks ago, they had this debate with Angela Rye. She was debating these, they were supposed to be conservatives, but they were really tethers. A lot of these people were non-FBAs. And one person that Amanda Seals debated, I remember he said his family was from Angola. He was talking about how, black people in America ain't this, ain't that. And then Amanda kind of asked him what his background was, and he was like, yeah, he's Angolan. His family's from Angola. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And we got to understand how a lot of these continental Africans, they still have the same mindset that they had 500 years ago. Now, that guy who's Angolan, he popped back on the internet, and this is him. Hold on. He popped back on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go to my screen here. This is the gentleman. This is the guy. I think his name is Matt Nuclear, but he's up here with Charlie Kirk. Hardcore suspected white supremacists. We've been going in on Charlie Kirk for the longest, but yeah, these tethers, and this is a tether. He's not a tether because he's Angolan. He's a tether based on his actions. Remember, tether is an actionable word. It's a word based on the actions of people. So he's up here with Charlie Kirk. This is the guy's page, Matt Nuclear. Crime-ridden cities, him with Charlie Kirk. Black men. Why a portion of young black American men have flocked away from wokeism. Now, see, they parade him around trying to act like he's a representative of black Americans. He's not. This guy is a tether. He's not of our lineage. This is why we're very particular about representation. All right. He said, I will never stop attacking leftist ideology. You see the hairline is janky. Educate them so they don't end up in prisons. The typical, white supremacist talking points. And not to be outdone, another continental African, your favorite continental African, he's back to his old shenanigans. Sudanese tether Myron Gaines is up here doing a Nazi salute with the suspected white supremacists. And he has on a racialized hat, the suspected white supremacists. So again, these people, use their melanin to aid and abet these suspected white supremacists. Now, family, this is why the delineation movement and Renaissance is in full swing, as it should be. And we got to be very honest. We got to be very honest. Now, I want y'all to understand two things that we just pointed out with these two different tethers. Besides the janky hairline, notice the continental Africans, and it's a lot of them, that are primarily with that bullshit, are the ones who got some kind of mixed ancestry over there. Now, the Angolan guy, he's mixed with something because he's a little lighter. So he's mixed with something. Myron Gaines is, mixed with Arab. That's significant. Now that doesn't say that other unmixed people from the continent don't have the same mindset. Let's be very clear. We're not negating that, because here's another video. Let me show y'all this. This is over in Europe. This woman here, I think she's Nigerian, but I know she's African. I think she's Nigerian. I know she is African. All right, hold on. She's up in some European country with a sign, and I'm not going to have the music up. She's holding a sign, if you're not racist, please give me a hug. Okay, hold on, let me show y'all this. Now, this woman here, this non-FBA woman right here in Europe, she's from Africa, but in Europe, has a sign, if you are not racist, please give me a hug. So, well, don't want to have no music, no copyright. So people are just going up, giving her a hug. For what reason? I don't know. I don't know what, there's just no rhyme and reason. Hey, I just want to be loved on by white people. You see? So that right there, that's the problem with the continent right there, ladies and gentlemen. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the problem with the continent. This is why Pan-Africanism is just not popping. It's just not popping. Let me fast forward. So yeah, just random white people. She's getting hugged on by random white people. All right. Okay, so a bunch of white people hugging on you. Just standing there so that white people can hug you. Okay. All right. So yeah, different cultures, family. So this desire to appease whiteness, that's something foreign to us. We're not the same. Let's be real. We got to understand what's going on here. Them needing that white validation, that's not our culture. That's not our culture, ladies and gentlemen. But family, going back to Myron Gaines and this other guy, Matt Nuclear, the Angolan, I want y'all to understand he's part of that whole Portuguese colonization. The Portuguese, they were the original colonizers up there. I want y'all to understand. He's got some of that long, deep colonization mindset. It was the Portuguese, they were the first ones to go in there wrecking shop. Henry the Navigator's people. They went over there, they built Elmina Castle. They built the slave dungeon over there. And they worked out a deal to be allowed to build that slave dungeon. Yeah? They were allowed to do that. And there was some Portuguese mixed people called Lancados. The Lancados, they were spreading out to different parts of West Africa. They were some of the Portuguese mixed with some of the Africans, royal family there. So those Lancados, those mixed breed African / Portuguese, they were some of the main facilitators of capturing the African people and getting them enslaved. They knew the different languages. They knew Portuguese, so they knew how to talk to the traders. They knew how to talk to some of the native chiefs. They knew how to go inward and negotiate and hem people up. So it was those Lancados, those mixed with Portuguese, who was really going in there helping to facilitate the slave trade. So we've got to understand the context of that. They went in there, they would gain people's trust and then trip people up. And then the Arabs, all those damn Arabs, ladies and gentlemen. Those Arabs were knee deep into slavery. The Arabs were enslaving people before the Europeans. Yes, the Dutch too. But yeah, those Arabs, boy, they got those slave dungeons over there in East Africa too. When I went to Zanzibar, they took me to one of them slave dungeons over there, explaining how horrible slavery was over there too, how they had to go in this dungeon here and then walk out of here to this port and do this. Oh, they broke it all the way down. They talked about a certain tree, they walked around, all of that stuff. And then when you show who was really facilitating it, one of the biggest slave traders over there in Zanzibar, East Africa, was a musty-ass Sambo named Tipu Tip. Tipu Tip is a jet black Arab. Tipu Tip is an Arab. Jet black. So don't let, when people talk about Arabs, you think just light skin. No, no, no. You have jet black Arabs. So Tipu Tip was African and Arab, and he was the major slave trader there. Notorious. A lot of people say he was instrumental in the devastation of Central and Eastern Africa, particularly the Congo, because he aligned with other Arabs and European powers, and he helped to enslave thousands of black people. Yeah? And they help adopt some of that anti-black vitriol and those anti-black attitudes, even though they are still dark themselves. Yeah? That's that Myron Gaines stock. You better understand where Myron Gaines come from. He's not an anomaly. This is what I'm saying to you. Yeah, Myron's an Arab. He's not an anomaly. That was what it was over there. Them Arabs were just as bad. Yeah? So they got this proximity to whiteness, this desire to get this proximity to whiteness, and that gives them a psychological separation from blackness. See, a lot of these mixed Africans, the Euro-African, Arab-African, they saw themselves culturally and racially distinct from the full-blooded Africans over there. So they had a sense of elevation, and that led them to have a willingness to work with the invaders and the colonizers. Yeah? And that same psychology is evident today. What Myron Gaines, I use him as an example, he's always denigrating us as another. He's darker than us. He's from Africa, but he's always denigrating us, foundational black Americans, our lineage. They come over here and align themselves with these far-right conservative white supremacists for clout and for validation. And understand, man, let's be real. Some of these elites in these African kingdoms, they facilitated the slave trade. Those African leaders they had access to the foreign arms and wealth from European alliances. The Dahomey, the Ashanti, the Oyo, they became complicit in selling the rival tribes into slavery. A lot of people say it was out of fear, but it really out of greed. A lot of it was out of greed. Yeah. We just got to tell it for what it is. And some of these modern African immigrants, not all of them, but the Myron types and the other dude, they're operating from that same place. Out of not just economic self-interest, not just survival, but a deep-rooted hatred for blackness and black culture. And they hate themselves. Yeah? And there's a cultural distance, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be real. There's a cultural difference. We're not all the same. Even during slavery, look, a lot of people who were born in Africa and brought over here, they were seen culturally distinct from the black people who were born in America. If you look at some of the early slave narratives, look at the plantation records, you know, you'll see that some of the African-born slaves, they referred to black Americans with terms that distanced themselves culturally, and vice versa. We were different. And then that same divide is preserved in today's digital and social conversations. See, a lot of these African immigrants, they'll minimize foundational black American struggles, and then they'll engage in anti-black American rhetoric in order to get brownie points from the dominant society, because they have that buffer class mindset, ladies and gentlemen. See, over there in Africa, see, the colonizers always sought a buffer class to manage the masses. See, when you are outnumbered, the white supremacists went over there, they're outnumbered, you have to have a buffer class. So you have to get some of the people and then elevate them, give them a little bit extra than those other groups. And you got to find something distinct about them to elevate them. And one thing you do, you say, well, you're mixed with us. So you low-key one of us. Not quite, but you're almost. You're almost one of us, so get out there and subjugate the rest of those Negroes and show us you're down to be on the team. And that's the carrot that they dangle at them. You know? So this is why we get the Myron Gaines style Arabized anti-black pipeline going on. He represents that modern version of that Arab African elite who look down on full black people, and they try to get those brownie points from the colonizers. Yeah? And this anti-FBA sentiment, that's a modern form of that internalized colonization. See, a lot of them with that contempt for us, they got to show contempt for foundational black Americans because we are the true riders. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the riders. See, like this shirt? Thank you. Like this shirt. Thank you very much. Yeah, get them likes up. We teaching tonight. Oh, it's getting deeper tonight. Y'all need to get them likes up because we're going to go deep tonight, family. We teaching tonight. It's going to go deep tonight. But I want you to understand the same strategy. Us delineating could not have come at a better time. We should have been doing it sooner, to be honest. Better late than never. We should have been delineating. And family, because we're delineating and we're making everybody put respect on our lineage and who we are, people are still trying to desperately co-opt the lineage. They're trying to co-opt it. And you see on TikTok, a lot of people keep trying to minimize our lineage, minimize who we are. They're trying to co-opt our legends for their own. Family, I saw somebody, this woman, I'm going to play the video clip. She's up here talking about how Harriet Tubman was really African. Her grandma came from Ghana. Harriet Tubman was from some kind of tribe, this tribe. They're trying to play that game. They're trying to play that game, ladies and gentlemen. Let me play a clip and break this stuff down. Y'all bear with me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all bear with me. Because I got to play this and let y'all hear this stuff. Hold on 1 second. Y'all bear with me. Because, yeah, people, if we let them, they'll rewrite history. We're not going to let them do that. Hold on 1 second, because I got to do something so I don't get no copyright strike. So I don't get no copyright strike, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to do something so I do not get a copyright strike. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Y'all bear with me. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Y'all bear with me. Let me look up something real quick. Y'all bear with me. This is what I'm looking for. There we go. All right. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Y'all bear with me. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna play a beat in the background while I play this video, so the copyright thing don't hit me. But let me find this video real quick, family. Hold on 1 second. Y'all bear with me and give me a retweet while I'm talking. So this woman here, what is she? Is she Haitian? What is she? Where is it? Right here. Is she Ghana? No, she's Ghanaian. I think this woman is Ghanaian. So she calls herself mocking us by talking about Harriet Tubman as African. Hold on. So this woman here thinks she's Ghanaian, and she's mocking foundational Black Americans, talking about, Harriet Tubman, who's an African, saved us. Hold on, let me play this beat real low. Hold on. All right.
So an African freed your ass. So I'm gonna move a bit down. Her grandmother was a goat. See, the jokes writes itself. You fucking foundational Black Americans don't even know that this woman that saved your ass. Saved your ass. Asia Moses that saved your fucking ass. Ghana. Tubman herself was told she resembled the Ashanti people, ethnic group from Ghana. So fucking African. Freed your ass, bitch. I can never be unfaithful. Ooh, I can never be unfaithful. Ooh. So an African.
Okay. And look, I know they're not witty. They try to be witty. Yeah, I know she looks like she's so very musty. And they're not witty. She got the crunch, her braids coming loose. Listen, here's this thing. They're trying to co-opt our ancestors. Well, let me take it down. Yeah, I know she's crunchy and ashy looking. I know. Yeah, these people are so butthurt that we have delineated. Listen, let's be very clear. Harriet Tubman, her birth and identity was rooted in America. Harriet Tubman was born enslaved in America. She wasn't an immigrant. She had no personal or cultural connection to Africa. Her life story from birth to death was lived on American soil. We're not doing that. You're not going to take credit for our icons when we had to get out here and stomp on our damn own. Harriet Tubman, just like all of us, foundational Black Americans, there was an ethnogenesis of foundational Black Americans. By that time, the Africans already mixed in with the indigenous people here, and they had already formed a very new and unique culture here in America. And that culture was foundational Black American. There was an ethnogenesis. Yeah? So her spiritual visions, her songs, cultural and coded communication, that reflected a created foundational Black American survival system. That was not no African tribal culture. And there's no evidence of no Asante connection and all of that. there's some historians that suggested that her grandmother might have come from Africa, but some people are saying her grandmother was born in Maryland. So it's kind of all over the place as far as that. But still, she had an ethnogenesis. She was here at the formation of the United States. She had an ethnogenesis. Her resistance was uniquely American, ladies and gentlemen. I want y'all to understand that. Harriet Tubman, her struggle was shaped by slavery in the United States, the fugitive slave laws, the Underground Railroad, the Great Dismal Swamp. Her strategies, her bravery, her spiritual outlook, those were products of the foundational Black American experience, not African culture. That sister risked her life in swamps of Maryland, going along these secret American routes. She wasn't on no African battlefield. Yeah? And nobody black sold her out like they did in Africa. No, we didn't sell her out. Huh? We didn't sell her out. The people here didn't sell her out. The people of the Great Dismal Swamp didn't sell her out. Yeah, you can't claim that now. Y'all would have sold her out like y'all did everybody else. Come on now, y'all not gonna play that game. Holla about she from Ghana when you got the damn Elmina Castle. Yeah, if somebody's from Ghana, your ass helped sell them. If that's what you saying, that means you sold the person who was related to Harriet Tubman. You sold him. You don't get to circle back and start claiming, oh, this is one of our greats. No. You don't get to do that. Harriet Tubman didn't get no help from Africa. Harriet Tubman liberated dozens of enslaved foundational Black Americans. She received help from other foundational Black Americans. All right? Some abolitionists, some white, some in the white church, but that primarily was foundational Black Americans who she got assistance from. She didn't get no assistance from no African leaders, no African government, no African tribes, no African dignitaries, nothing. You don't get to claim that. Her network was strictly a foundational Black American-born resistance. Yeah? Y'all not gonna get to circle the block and try to double dip on the claims now, because too many of y'all non-FBAs were way too complicit in the slave trade. Them African elites, including groups like the Asantes, they were some of the main ones collaborating, selling captives to Europeans and the Portuguese, Lacados, all they were up there in the mix. No. You can't. No. You're not going to ignore the fact that those African leaders historically helped supply the very system Harriet Tubman fought against. You don't get to circle the block now. Come on now, let's get them. We got over 3,000 people in here. Let's get up to 5,000 people in here in the next 20 minutes. Y'all give us some retweets. Harriet Tubman's legacy is foundational Black American. She was a Union spy, a nurse, a freedom fighter during the Civil War. Look, she never claimed an African identity. She was always celebrated as a foundational Black American freedom fighter. Yeah? See, that's it. People try to get into these historical erasure tactics, trying to brand Harriet Tubman as an African. That's like the Essence Fest. You see, everybody's trying to dip into the history and dip into our culture and rebrand it, and we're just not letting people do that. She never claimed an African identity. Yeah? See, all of this historic cultural erasure, that undermines the reality of the foundation of Black Americans. We created our own lineage and culture independent of African identity. See, everything we do, they have to try to tie it into something African. Everything, if we create a music genre, hear somebody go from some African studies class, well, listen, yeah, well, drill music, you got to understand where that came from. 2,000 years ago, in a small village in Nairobi, there was a drum circle, and people used to go around singing drill raps. No. Let's be real. Harriet Tubman, her spirituality was distinctively foundational Black American. Her vision, her prayers, her songs. She understood hoodoo and root work. Yeah, that was us. That was our culture. Harriet Tubman, she became a symbol of foundational Black American self-determination. She represented that resilience that foundational Black American have, the self-liberation, family reunification, community defense. She embodies how foundational Black Americans fought for freedom without outside help. See, they talk about Harriet Tubman because some of the church people were involved, but let's be very clear. The way she was able to move up and down was because of Black maroons. She was going in and out of the damn dismal swamp, and that was a place where white people couldn't even go. So that was us. So trying to put her into the African bubble, that's them trying to really erase her true identity. Because a lot of these folks, they can't point to their globally revered heroes, unfortunately. And I'm not trying to beat up on nobody, but we just got to speak truth to power. And going back to Harriet Tubman, let's look at her own words, family. Because see, we can't let people disgrace and lie on our ancestors who were riders. We can't let people do that. Now, in 1859, our good sister, Queen Mother Harriet Tubman, did a speech. She did a speech. And where's that? And let me show you guys an excerpt from that speech. August 2nd, 1859. This is her own words right here. In this speech, she said, let's go down here. Just so the white people had got the N-word here to do their druggery, and now they're trying to root them out and send them back to Africa. But they can't do it. We're rooted here, and they can't put us up, or can't pull us up. We are rooted here. This is Harriet Tubman's own words. She said, we are rooted here, and you can't pull us up. That's her talking. That's her own words. All right? She knew what it was. Hey, we ain't going to no Africa. We're rooted on this land. She knew we were foundational. That's what foundational means, rooted. You can't pull us up. Please don't let nobody lie on our Queen Mother Harriet Tubman. Damn. Y'all not gonna do that. She knew we was foundational. That's that FBA talk right there. Come on now. She was a rider. We knew this is our homeland. This is our homeland. We've always known that. Frederick Douglass would say some of the same thing. They were talking about the Colonization Society sending people to Liberia. And Frederick was like, no, we ain't doing that. No, he was vehemently against that. No, this is our home here. This is where our roots are. This is us. So family, we got to watch folks out here who are trying to remix history and rewrite history, ladies and gentlemen, and try to denigrate us and then try to get into the culture talk. Oh, we got to start checking people when it comes to talk about culture. Now, there's a video that's been circulating for a few weeks now. We got to get into this, and I think y'all know the one I'm talking about because it's been all on TikTok. This video's been circulating heavy. This is a man from Benin. He's a Benin immigrant who's over here. He lives in the U.S. I think his name is Zanu, Professor Zanu, something like that. Boy, he was up here talking to a Haitian woman about Black American culture, talking about we ain't got no culture. I'm like, why are you talking to a Haitian woman? Now, this video has been going all over the internet, and we got to address this. We're going to break this down. Now, hold on. We're going to slow walk this one. Hold on.
African Americans in this country are the only groups. They have no culture. It depends on who you meet, where you meet them.
But currently there's not an African American culture?
No.
Yes, there is.
What is it? Name 2 value systems in the African American culture.
Okay. I'm gonna just break it down in real time. Okay. We got to break this stuff down in real time. Foundational Black Americans, ladies and gentlemen, like I've said many times before, we are the culture of America. Everything that's culturally great about America, which he moved to, comes from foundational Black Americans. The food, the soul food, that is our culture. Ladies and gentlemen, soul food is our culture. All the popular music genres is our culture. We created all of the popular music cultures and genres. We did that. Our civil rights activism is a part of our culture. Nobody gets down and fights for civil rights like we do. The list goes on and on. All the great things in this culture is ours. He said, name 2 value systems. Okay, for foundational Black Americans, 1 value system, ladies and gentlemen, respect for elders. Foundational Black Americans generally have a strong respect for our elders. From top to bottom, even in the hood, we respect elders. Even on the streets, in street culture, the underground economy culture, you still respect elders. Hey, that's OG right there. Old dude over there, yeah, he's been in the game for 60 years. That's the OG. We still give them respect. Even on the streets, we give you respect if you're a certain age and you've earned respect in the community. Our value system is hardcore respect for elders. We respect our elders. Majorly. A second value system we have is standing and fighting against white supremacy. That's what we do. We fight against white supremacy like nobody else. Fighting against white supremacy consistently, I ain't talking about a little one-off every 100 years, a consistent battle against the oppressive system of white supremacy is foundational Black American culture. They're not doing over there that in his homeland. Yeah? That's our value system. Contrary to what people believe, education is our value system. We value education. Yes, we do. We value education. We didn't sit up here building some of them HBCUs for nothing. We weren't walking down to fucking Tuskegee. We were walking to Tuskegee. We valued education and still value education. We always value education. They try to sit up and pretend we don't. We do. We know how to value education. Even the street dudes value education. We've always valued education. There's a reason why my documentary series, Hidden Colors, was the best-selling documentary series ever on history, on Black history. And it was sold all through the streets, all through barbershops, people watching it in prison. I don't know how they got a VCR in prison. They're watching it in prison. People are watching it at schools all over Black America. We value education. You understand? And we value education on our own terms. We value it on our terms. So yeah, those are some of our value systems. Hold on. See, they value education as long as you get a pat on the head from somebody white. It's a whole different vibe. We generally just value education, period. Now let me play some more of this guy. We're gonna slow walk this thing. We're going to take our time with it. Hold on. Let me play some more. Hold on.
Two value systems in the African American culture.
Value system?
Yes. Name two taboos in the African American culture system. Name two traditions by the.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. Let's slow walk it. Okay. God, where do I start? He said, name two taboos. Then he said, name two traditions. You know that one taboo in foundational Black American culture? One taboo we have is collaborating with the white supremacists against Black people to harm Black people as a whole. That's a major taboo. Sitting up here collaborating with white supremacists to harm Black people as a group, major taboo. They would have to put people in witness protection programs when they did that type of shit. You understand? Hold on, let me get, oh, my bad. Hold on. Yeah, that was a major taboo. Major taboo. Working against Black society with white supremacists, which they do over there in his homeland all the time. Another major taboo, foundational Black American society, open trafficking of children. That open pedophilia and child trafficking is a major no-no. That's a huge taboo in foundational Black American culture. We have the only culture where that is 100% not allowed. The only culture in which that is 100% not allowed openly. I ain't talking about what somebody's doing what you don't know about. Because people do little shit, but you do it behind the scenes and don't nobody know about it. We don't play that shit with no kids. You can't go among foundational Black Americans and be like, hey, where can I buy a kid to give? You can't do that around us at all. I'm talking about not just a little bit you can do. You can't do that around us. We are the only people who don't play that shit. Now, you can do that in the Caribbean. The Caribbean used to be a hot spot for that. They used to have little magazines telling you where to go in the Caribbean to do that. You can do it in Africa. Come on, let's be real. Over in Gambia, people take their kids out there to them white tourists. You want to be real? You want to talk about your culture? Yeah, y'all better get these people straight when they start talking that culture shit. Do you really want to talk about culture? Y'all go out there and do little weird stuff with the kids over there when them white tourists show up over there. We don't play like that. We don't do that at all. And I ain't talking about somebody doing something behind the scenes you don't know about. Because let me tell you something. If they're doing it behind the scenes and they get caught and they go to jail, that ass is getting stomped on. You're going to have to get PC'd up. If you do get caught doing that bullshit, you persona non grata when you get behind them walls. Your ass going to have to get PC'd up. Yeah, that's our taboo right there. Now let me play some more of this dude. Hold on one second. All right. Where are we at?
And culture system. Name two traditions, by the way, in the African American culture system. There is no value.
Okay, let me get on that. Traditions. Juneteenth is a tradition. That's one of our traditions. Family reunions. That's a foundational Black American tradition. That's something that we started. So we can just go on down the line. We have several traditions, but that's one of them. But let me go ahead. Let me play some more. Hold on.
For freedom, if you don't understand what it is, the concept of free, you have to have a foundation on which it would balance when you ask for it. Civil right, they give it to you. You have no culture. Nancy, you've been here, born here. Why would you be surprised if I say African Americans don't have a culture? What, twerking? So, anything
but I feel...
See, he said, what, twerking? Like y'all ain't shaking ass over there in Africa.
Like African American culture has definitely
you say
mainstream.
You say the word, the African American culture. What is it? Okay,
like
fine.
like hip hop.
Oh,
not
Jesus
hip hop. I mean, I don't want to.
Because this woman is Haitian. What two tethers talking about our damn history?
Look,
Yes, I feel like
you haven't thought about it. It's fine. Don't make things up.
I'm not making it up.
Okay,
I feel like
then educate me. You feel, you should know, you were born and raised here.
yes, but I have a.
Are you African American?
I'm Haitian American.
That's correct. Do you see why you were being specific with that? Because anybody who encounters you already knows you before, if they know you are Haitian. At least two things comes to their mind.
What is that?
If they've been to Haiti, they can look at work ethics and they say, yes, Haitians, I know them. Service industry, they know.
He said work ethic? Okay. He said they can look at work ethic? Hold on. And shout out to Haiti. I did a movie about Haiti, the Haitian Revolution. He said when you go to Haiti, you see work ethic. That's not what you think when you go to Haiti. No disrespect to the people, lovely people, but that's not what you think. That's not what you think. And I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna let Haiti catch no strays because he's spewing all that. But that's not what you think when you go to Haiti. But I'm not gonna hit Haiti with no strays right now. We focus on this Benin dude. Hold on.
Know where they do well. Food, they can say yes. And even language, create.
Did he say food? Okay, really? He said when you point to Haiti, you can point to food. Yeah, outside of Haiti, Haitian food is not a thing. No disrespect, but yeah, outside of Haiti, that's not a thing. What Haitian food? Hold on. I'm not trying to give Haiti no. I'm not trying to let Haiti catch no strays. Hold on.
They can say yes. And even language, Creole.
Right.
And they can say, oh, I love Haitians. Because they saw the culture in abstract before they encountered you. So people
What's the culture?
go over the bridge of your culture, your tradition, your customs. And that helps them to know how to
address it.
Exactly. I'm saying to you, any people who ask for these things, which are abstract, freedom, for example, independence, for example, and civil right, for example, voting right, for example, you must have a foundation on which these things are going to balance. Because the people there have to uniformly agree with consensus. This is our way of life. The do's and the don'ts.
That's exactly what foundational Black Americans did with the Civil Rights Movement. We had a foundation and a culture. That's why the Civil Rights Movement worked and it helped people like you. See, a lot of these people do a lot of projecting. Hold on.
Involved in our culture. Even you have to create an artificial culture.
Is that why the civil rights movement is considered dead?
It's dead and useless. They got it, but they could not balance it on any foundation.
No. We got it, and then all of a sudden, a bunch of people started benefiting from it and snatching up all the damn benefits and undermining us. That was the problem. They started snatching up all the benefits, and then it started to represent every and any damn thing. You understand? And then they get to talking about language and all of that. And I've heard some of these tethers talk about language. Well, culture starts with language. Oh, what is the language, nigga? What is your language? You nigga speak English. She speak Creole. Listen, language is not culture. Let's get something straight, ladies and gentlemen. Language is not culture. Y'all give me a retweet. Y'all retweet me. We in here heavy. Let me say that again. Language is not culture. Listen, culture is a shared system of values, rituals, aesthetics, norms, institutions like food, music, kinship rules, spirituality. Language is a symbolic code for transmitting information, sound, signs, grammar. You can change the code without changing the values. See, culture can survive language loss or shift. Like people here enslaved in America, the indigenous languages were wiped out primarily. The African languages were wiped out. Yet the core cultural logistics that we've practiced, they've all persisted. The way we worship, our polyrhythms, our communal chow rearing, our culinary techniques, new languages. We had Creole languages. We had AAVE, which I call Foundational Black American Vernacular English. Tut language. We had the Tut language that we created and practiced secretly. So yeah, we had different languages that we utilized, but we had a continuity with culture. And the language adapted around our culture, and it still does. Our culture is consistent. Because listen, you can have the same language in different cultures. Look, English is a shared language across the United States, Jamaica, Nigeria, the UK. Look, Jamaicans speak English. Our culture is completely different from damn Jamaica. They have their own unique culture. We have our own unique culture. You understand? Language doesn't mean culture. You know? Even in the United States, we have Foundational Black American Vernacular English, and then there's General American English, and it shows how a shared language shell can contain different cultural worldviews, different aesthetics, different norms, and even with Foundational Black Americans, regionally we have different slang terms and language that we utilize and customs that we do within the totality of the culture. So there's different slangs out of Philly. That's why when we talk to people, we can kind of understand where they're from if you are well-traveled around the United States. Back when I was dating, I could figure out where a girl was from just by her accent or her slang. You understand? You meet somebody and they like, hey, what you trying to do? Okay, this girl's from Baltimore. Or they say something about I just saw this John over here at the store. Okay, she's from Philly. You understand? So we can pick up on certain accents. See, language is an infrastructure for coordination. It's not the blueprint. See, when you think of language, language is like a road system. It's not the city plan. It just facilitates the rituals. You understand? Language is basically an archive and an amplifier of the culture. You see? Language is a site of power. Yeah? It represents the culture, but it's not the culture. So I want y'all to understand that. Because understand, look, foundational Black American culture, we have the most dominant culture. And we can go on and on about what we do culturally that's unique to us and that's spread around the world. The hoodoo culture, the conjure, that's our culture. The patent juba, which turned into stepping, which what we see our Q dogs and people like that, the fraternities, that's foundational Black American culture. The band culture, where you got the big bands, the marching bands getting down and doing dances, that's unique to us. The marching band culture. Nobody gets it in like our marching bands. That's our culture. Who else gets it in like our foundational Black American marching bands? Even family, the way we barber and the way we do hair, the lineups, the square lineups, that's our culture. The unique hairstyles we created. Innovative barbering is our culture. Not just the innovative barbering, barbershop culture and beauty shop culture, that's us. We have a culture with barbershops and beauty shops. That itself is a culture. Because it's not just a place where you can cut your hair. The barbers, and you know the movie Barbershop was about that. the barbershop, that became a cultural staple in foundational Black American society. I want y'all to understand, the barbershops were safe havens during segregation, even during slavery, during Jim Crow. Remember, we were excluded from a lot of white-owned saloons and institutions and barbershops. So the Black-owned barbershops, those became safe spaces where we can gather freely without outside surveillance and hostility. Also, it represented economic independence, man. A lot of the first Black people to get some big money were the barbers, because they would cut white people's hair too. You would have to go to the Black people to get your hair cut if you were white. You understand? And they had some of those early barbering schools out of Philly where they were meticulous about that. That's why some of the best haircuts still come out of Philly today. Philly is infamous for their tight haircuts. You can't go around Philly with a fucked up hairstyle. I seen homeless niggas with tight fucking fades in Philly. I went to Philly, I saw a homeless dude with a shadow fade. Nigga, how the fuck? Nigga, you home nigga on the corner with a tight fade laying on the damn curb with a tight fucking fade. The homeless people in Philly got tight fades. That's another. You don't go around Philly. That's one city. You don't go around Philly with a fucked up hairstyle. That's a major cultural thing over there. Huh? Dude, I think they used to say Jay-Z used to take trips down there to Philly to get his hair cut. That's how he was clicked in with all them rappers down there. Yeah? Wasn't that true? I think that was the rumor that Jay-Z used to go down there to Philly to get his hair cut. And that's how they got hooked up with some of those Philly cats. Yeah, we created the lottery, the whole shebang. But yeah, the barbering, that was for economic independence. Because we would cut white people's hair too, we would ear hustle and listen to their little money-making techniques and plans. So we would get some game from them. And also, everybody had to go to the barbershop. So the barbers were some of the first people accumulating wealth. And they would hire people within the community. And the barbershops, that became like a center of community dialogue. You know, that was one of the places where you could go and you can talk politics. You can talk about what's going on in the community. A lot of the civil rights strategies were organized in some of these barbershops and beauty salons. You understand? Come on now. The elders would be in there. That was a place, the barbershop was a place. It was therapeutic. You know, it was a stress relief. Yeah. And that was a place where no matter where you were economically in the community, you had to come to that barbershop. So that was a place, that was one of the few places, unlike like some of these boule networks or some of the dice game places or whatever, the barbershop brought all them people together. So yeah, the barbershop was always the deep place culturally in foundational Black American culture. So you sitting up there in the barbershop, you could be up there with a Harvard professor, a drug dealer, a Rhodes Scholar, and a student at an HBCU. So you got all of these different people sitting up here in the barbershop, kind of networking with each other and getting information and just kind of sharing views and things like that. So that's why the barbershop was very important. And that was our culture. That was a cultural thing with us. Yeah, the Black church is our culture too. Our Black church, very unique. Again, we would organize and plan in the Black church. The Black church was a hub that took care of the community. Still does. Yeah? You see? Yeah, that was a place. Yeah, the barbershop cats in there playing chess. Yeah, it was a place where folks you could go buy a mixtape. Yeah, the barbershops, that was a place, some of the barbershops were getting the word out for my Hidden Colors movies. I would meet people all the time who said they saw it in a barbershop. Everywhere I went, Cass was like, yo, I first saw Hidden Colors. That was the barbershop. They were playing at the barbershop all around the country. The barbershops were promoting it. So the barbershops were very important in foundational Black American culture. You see? But I want you to understand something. This guy from Benin, they do a lot of projecting because truth be told, they don't really have a real culture. Like I said before, they don't have a culture. They have customs that are not valid outside of the village. And I'm not trying to beat up on them. Yeah, the lottery is our culture. We created the lottery. The free lunch program is our culture. That was something that the Black Panthers were doing. And then they neutralized the Black Panthers, and then they started to implement free lunch programs in schools. Do y'all know that? They didn't start doing free lunch programs in schools until the damn Black Panthers did it. Because they realized, okay, we got to feed people, because if you can feed people, you can train them ideologically. So yeah, we can't. Yeah, you start feeding people. Now that's the first step of nation building. So they had to neutralize the Black Panthers. Then in the 70s, right after they got neutralized, they started putting the free lunch programs in the schools. Also, EMT work. That's foundational Black American culture. You want to know our culture? We were the first EMT paramedics up there in Pennsylvania. In Pittsburgh, the Freedom House Ambulance Service. We were doing that first. We showed the world how to get in there, get in them urban areas, and make sure people are alive so you can take them to the hospital while they're alive. They weren't doing that before Black people in Pittsburgh was doing that. That's our culture. See, we do things that are culturally relevant to the world. You understand? Don't let nobody ever say some shit about some culture. We can break our culture down meticulously. You better ask them, what the hell is your culture? They're not going to see, they can't tell you nothing. I wish he was sitting there with me saying that shit. Oh, we would have went down the line on Benin, and what's your culture? Baking bushmeat? Smuggling over monkey boils like they did in Michigan. Y'all saw in Michigan, they tried to smuggle in some bushmeat. They had a bag of crab boils and monkey boils. They had bags of monkeys. I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to beat up on some of the African brothers and sisters. I'm not. But y'all folks can't be talking greasy when the track record is too shaky. They can't be talking greasy. We just gonna have to point out certain things. Y'all saw that. Let me see if I can find that. Y'all, just in case y'all think I'm just bullshitting. Well, they got that monkey meat out of Detroit. Hold on, they found some bush meat. Hold, let me find that news article.
Thank you, sir.
My bad. Let me find that article. Hold on. Let me see if I can find that story. This is out of Detroit. Okay. Hold on. Just so y'all don't think I'm trying to beat up on people. Hold on. Let me play this. This is from Detroit. Hold on. All right. I'm not trying to beat up on y'all, but if your people talking about some culture, let's compare culture, okay? This is the culture that you want to compare. All right, hold on. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on.
Well, it is illegal and unusual, these discoveries at Detroit Metro Airport.
Yeah, bush meat. That's meat from rats, bats.
Hold on. The way he said it. Hold on. The way he said it, so professional. Hold on. I'm going to play it again. But the way he said it, yes, it was bush meat. Meat from monkeys, rats, rodents. There's different forms of bush meat. Okay, that's funny. Hold on. Let me play that again. Hold on. Oh, goodness. Hold on.
Well, it is illegal and unusual, these discoveries at Detroit Metro Airport.
Yeah, bush meat. That's meat from rats, bats, baboons, and more. And we get your attention. The feds aren't monkeying around with this. Fox 2's Jessica Duke
did you hear
at the
him?
airport.
Wait, did you hear him? Did you hear him? Oh, they throwing shade all through the shit. He's like, listen, yes, it's bush meat from rats, monkeys, baboons, and other animals. Well, they don't seem like they're monkeying around right now. Boy, they're shady as hell to do that. Oh, they're being shady. Oh, man. That's cold. Hold on.
That's meat from rats, bats, baboons, and more. And we got your attention. The feds aren't monkeying around with this. Fox 2's Jessica Dupek is live at the airport. Jessica, do explain.
Yeah, we need some context here, right, Ruth and Amy? So this is crazy. Customs and Border Protection, they seized back-to-back bushmeat smugglers here at DTW. Now, the first one, it was 11 pounds of rodent meat in someone's luggage, and a couple days later, they found 52 pounds of monkey meat stacked away. We, of course, had to ask passengers what they thought.
Oh, that's gross.
The faces say it all. Oh, what do you think of that?
That's disgusting.
Back-to-back seizures of bushmeat at Detroit
Oh, God.
Metro Airport in 1 week. First, 11 pounds of rodent meat in the bags of a passenger coming from Togo in West Africa.
That is not appetizing at all, I would say. I do like red meat, though.
And next up, the headliner, Customs and Border Protection uncovering 50...
Nigga. Come on. Man, come on, man. If this is what y'all, if this is your culture, y'all shouldn't be saying nothing about nobody's culture. I'm not trying to beat up on the family from our non-FBA family, but don't talk about culture. And this is what's going on? Come on, man. Come on.
52 pounds of primate meat.
That's a lot of monkey meat. My goodness.
The passenger claimed it as antelope meat, but the monkey meat coming from Central Africa, possibly this little guy or the sun-tailed monkey.
It looks tasty.
You're lying.
No, it looks good.
You'd eat that.
I'd eat it.
You're kidding.
I'm kidding.
Customs and Border Protection says primate seizures are very rare. What's the weirdest thing in your bag right now?
No comment.
We had to ask. What's the craziest thing you've eaten?
The craziest thing I probably ever eaten was
The rodent packer and the monkey meat smuggler slapped with a $300 fine each. The not so funny part, this kind of bushmeat has a serious risk of carrying some scary diseases which can wreak havoc in humans.
And I know all cultures and customs, they have different foods that they eat, but it's not something that appeals to me.
Yeah, fair enough. This could all be a delicacy somewhere else, but on our unofficial poll here at DTW, it was not a delicacy to these passengers. Now, Customs and Border Protection says that they find all kinds of things. They found some live snails recently, animal skulls, and in most cases, it's not malicious.
Okay. But yeah, they find these all the time. They go in these people's luggage. They're coming from West Africa. And they got bags and luggage of bushmeat. They find these all the time. I'm not trying to beat up on you, but damn, your boy can't be out here talking about some damn culture and people out here smuggling lemon pepper leopard legs all over the goddamn place. You can't do that. You can't talk about culture. You understand? See, foundational Black Americans, man, listen. We're the only people, we're really the only ethnic group that has a globally influential culture, and we did it without having to colonize, enslave, or subjugate other people. I want you to understand something. We're the only people who have a globally influential culture, and we didn't colonize nobody. Our culture spread globally through influence, not invasion. See, the Europeans and the Arabs and even some of the Asian empires, they had to spread their culture through military conquest. We spread our culture globally through organic influence, our art, music, style, innovation, our advocacy. Everybody around the world emulates foundational Black Americans. They're not emulating that dude from no damn Benin. People emulate our food. They're not emulating bushmeat. Yeah? See, the world emulates and imitates foundational Black Americans, and then you have people trying to erase the source. Our hairstyles, our dances, our slang, our clothing, they're imitated nationwide and worldwide. Yeah? So when people start trying to copy the culture without giving credit, that's a no-no. That is a no-no. When you go over to Asia, especially Japan and other places, Korea, they're getting their hair done like foundational Black Americans. Because a lot of Africans don't have those styles that we have. They're trying to get their hair cut like us over there. We are the global culture, not just American culture. We're global culture. And people gonna put some damn respect on that. But anyway, family, let me get up out of here. Shout out to everybody in here. We're in here heavy. Over 4,000 people in the room live. Much respect. That's love. Everybody subscribe to this channel. You have to subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification. All right? Also, go to hiddenhistorymuseum.com to get tickets to join me at the Hidden History Museum Saturday, October 4th at the Funny Fun Fest. We got a lot of great comedians. We got Brother Dwan B hosting. We got Scruncho performing. So many other people. It's going to be a vibe, complimentary food. At the Hidden History Museum, we always turn up. So you got to be in the place, ladies and gentlemen. The vibe is beautiful. That's hiddenhistorymuseum.com. And also make a contribution to the Hidden History Museum so we can keep stomping down on our lineage, making sure that people put respect on it, making sure the history is correct. And we do that with your support, ladies and gentlemen. We do that with your support. All right. Also, get your Rootwork deodorant, family, at rootworkstyle.com. Rootworkstyle.com. All right. I'm up out of here, guys. Papi Akute and Lula Vuve to the family.